Hello. So if you are in Seville and have an extra day, I would suggest a side trip to Carmona. This is a pretty little town about 20 miles to the west that dates back at least to the Neolithic period. It was used by the Phoenicians as a trading city, and then, of course, taken over by the Romans. They even had a mint there. They minted coins under the name of Carmo. Next, it was held by the Moors, the Berbers, and then finally Ferdinand of Castile captured the city. There's a ton of stuff to see, and our visit, being tired and trying to squeeze it in on our way back from Manigua, really didn't do it justice. So I've kind of put together some highlights from the things that we saw and things I wish we had seen. Of course, you can look at that and decide on your own priorities if you go to visit. Most interesting, of course, are the remains of the Roman necropolis just west of the downtown. I have a photo here that you see on this page of one of the family tombs that I was actually able to go down into and take pictures. They have it open right now. Of course, you know, over time, some of these things get closed off, so take advantage of it when you can. The Oxford Archeological Guide to Spain has about 3 pages on Carmona that are definitely worth reading. I would suggest starting a visit at the Alcazar, which was actually the Seville gate on the west side of the Roman city. This puts the stuff on to the west of that as outside the Roman city. Of course, that's where you find the necropolis and mausoleums. And then everything to the east of that up to the Cordoba gate, this whole area in here, as the old Roman town. So I'd spend some time downstairs in the Alcazar with the very nice folks at the tourist board who are down there, and they can help you plan out your visit, give you some routes that they have laid out that will hit those points of interest, and they have really helpful maps. In some areas, they've even put little plaques into the sidewalk to help you figure out where you're at. The points of my points of interest, of course, all the Roman ones I have here in red, follow nominally the old Via Augusta through town, which was also the Cardo, which is the main north-south road. It's kind of funny because it doesn't exactly look north-south, but they recommend they refer to that as the Cardo, and so that runs through town. I would skip the arena. You can see it from the road. The road, actually, the current road runs in between the necropolis and the arena. The old Via Augusta ran to the south of the necropolis. But anyway, you can see that from the road, and it's kind of in fairly poor shape. Definitely spend time at the necropolis. That's a must see. That's one of the highlights of the whole city in terms of Roman stuff. There's also a small mausoleum. I believe it's under in a car park under this grassy area here. We didn't get a chance to see it. We did walk over this area, and it's got a very interesting road layout. And as you look at the way this road is laid out, you quickly realize that it's the old circus for racing, for the the horse races and stuff. Anyway, then there is a main museum in town. It's a small museum, but it's very respectable from what I've seen. Again, it was another point of things we missed along the way. And then throughout town, there are sights to see. And so, for example, there was in the town hall, there's this very detailed mosaic you can see here. It's actually, I've got a blow up of it here. So you've got a gorgon in the center, and then they say that these are the 4 seasons around the outside. If you know why they would call this the 4 seasons, I'd be very interested, because I see this guy with the with what might be a trident or a pitchfork. I don't know, one of the two, which would suggest maybe this is Poseidon and not necessarily the harvest season or something. I don't know. Anyway, and then I can't figure out what this guy is. He looks more like a guy in an air supplied hazmat suit than anything else. But anyway, if you could put something in the chat if you know, like I said, they recommend this is the 4 seasons, and this is just something that's just kind of sitting in the town hall. So and as I said, if you talk to the folks in the tourist board, they can probably point out a lot of this stuff to you, so you don't miss it like we missed it. If you visit the necropolis, which if you're there, you absolutely have to, you come in and there's a small museum with a few of the things that they found in some of the tombs. Then this photo here that I took inside of one of the family tombs is located right about here. Really walk all the way back and see all the tombs along the way, and particularly the tomb of Sevilla. This was named after a statue that was found in the tomb. The tomb is actually a reused quarry, very interesting, and all the tombs here are carved into the rock. So even though they look like maybe they're concrete, they're actually not. They're just carved into the rock, and then they were originally plastered over. Some of them still have some of the original paint. So you have this one particular one looks a lot like a Roman villa or domus. So we have a peristyle court on the outside. Then if you walk through this, or well, you can't actually walk through, but if you look in, you can actually see this this underground room here, which I actually think reminds me, at least, of the octagonal room in Nero's Domus Aurea. It even has the little oculus here, or maybe even this room was repeated many times in Roman architecture, including, of course, the Pantheon. Or it could also be that this oculus here is supposed to remind us of an atrium, which was the entry into a house, and of course it leads into the peristyle outside or into the actual tombs, as you know, you may have in a villa when you're going into rooms inside. So my musings would be helped if I had actually not been so tired when we had gotten there, and I'd actually gone down into it and seen it. So as I suggested, this is the Alcazar. Great place to start, and this of course is an aerial shot I did not take. It might actually be a picture from one of the other churches, I don't know. Anyway, very impressive gateway into the city. You can kind of see that this is the gateway here. It was built over several times. I think the Phoenicians built the first one, then the Romans on top of that, and then the Moors on top of that. It's got a great view of the city. You pay your small fee to the folks downstairs. You talk to them about where you want to go. You climb to the top of the Alcazar, get a lay of the land, and then follow your chosen adventure. So once you have prioritized to see the necropolis and the Alcazar, there's a lot of other stuff to do in town and to the east. There is a relatively small but good museum, as I mentioned before. So there's a photo of that. It's on a side street. Parking looks like it might be a little tough, so I'd suggest when you park for the Alcazar, maybe seeing that at the same time. There's also a convent that apparently you can buy cookies from the nuns there. They used to sell them with a revolving wheel, so you didn't make contact with the nuns. But I've heard that folks have been having trouble figuring that out. So if you're into that sort of thing, then I'd suggest talking to folks at the Alcazar. The Roman bridge, which I show right here, was rebuilt several times, including in the medieval period, and restored again in the 20th century. I think the core is the original Roman bridge that crossed this small stream. It looks like a really nice walk from the town and the Cordoba gate if you have time. If you can't tell, I did not take any of these particular pictures. Basically, we were really tired after seeing Manigua, so we stuck to the Alcazar and the necropolis. They were really impressive. If I were to visit Carmona again, I'd probably opt to spend a bit more time on the churches and the other walks. As I said, the tourist website lists a lot of them. As well, they have several audio guides in Spanish if you speak Spanish. So to get to Carmona from Seville, or Sevilla, if that's the way you pronounce it, I tend to jump back and forth. Basically, you have two methods. There is a car or a bus. There's no real train option I could find. There is a direct bus that leaves from downtown Seville at the Plaza de Armas bus station. It takes about 40 minutes, and it does make one stop at the airport. So I guess if you're at the airport, you could take a bus directly from there. When I looked it up, though, I only saw one departure a day from that direct route, although on some of the message boards, I see references to 3 buses a day. So maybe it depends on seasons. Possibly more useful is the local bus, the M124, which leaves from Seville's Prado de San Sebastian bus station, and there are a lot of buses that leave from there each day. I think it's like every half an hour there's probably a bus. Some of them are direct buses, and some have multiple stops. I put a link here to that M124 as well as the direct bus service here if you're interested. It looks like maybe the San Sebastian station might be a more pleasant experience. You'll definitely get more of a Spanish experience if you take that bus. As I said, we rented a car because we were making it our second stop after Manigua. As I've got that route here. It's about 50-minute drive. The hike up Manigua and then hiking around town was a really long day for 2 of us in our late 50s. But maybe if you're a little younger or a little more energetic, doing both of those things in one day with a rental car might be a pretty darn good option. If you drive, you will need to park, and there's probably a lot of parking on the edge of town, but we went straight to the Alcazar, and there was parking just about a block south of the Alcazar. So here's the Alcazar, and here is the general area of parking. You pay this guy right here. You'll see him likely, even if it does seem a little sketchy, or maybe it'll be his friend. He may even be parking folks a block north. We saw that there was some parking up here. Just look for him, and he'll likely be looking for you. In fact, he waved us down for parking. We probably had a confused look on our faces that he sees dozens of times a day. It felt kind of like that kid that you pay when you park on the street in a neighborhood that you think should be free. You know, kind of the one who looks more like they're running a protection racket than a parking service. But I think it really is official, and I went on Google, and that's Google Maps. This is Google Earth, excuse me. There's a picture of him on Google Earth. So he is there. And that is how you get to Carmona and some of the major sites. We had a great time, even though we missed a bunch of stuff. If you've been there before and you have their thoughts, please put those down in the comments in the chat. And also, if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more on experiences we had getting to Roman sites, please like and subscribe, and I'll try to put a few more together. Thank you very much.